Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is part of again my Python basic series, and the topic of this video is inheritance. It is a part of an object oriented programming concept, and we are going to discuss it in this video. Before starting any further, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for further notifications, and let's get started. So first of all, what is the definition of inheritance? I think the definition of inheritance is pretty much clear in the name itself. Inheritance basically means that when one class inherits or takes the properties from another class, that's called as inheritance. In this case, the class which is basically inheriting the properties becomes the child class, and the class which is being inherited becomes the parent class. We can also call it as the base class also. Okay. Now, why do we need inheritance? And there are some pretty obvious answers to it. The first answer which comes into my mind is to reduce the redundancy of code. Okay, so let's suppose I have some class in which there is a set of code lines written, and then there is another class which is related to that one. Because both the classes are related, we do not want to have repetitive coding lines in both the classes. So in that case, what we can do is that we can create one class which can inherit another class, and that's how the subclass or the derived class or the child class will be able to automatically access all the functions and the variables of the parent class without writing a single line of code of that. Okay, so this is how you can reduce redundancy in your code using inheritance. Another advantage of using inheritance is that you can model real life scenarios with inheritance very easily. I will just show you with an example how we can do so, because this type of real life modeling really helps us to solve the problems, and it kind of gives us a good perspective. So first of all, if I want to start with this example, I want to state that this example is pretty much taken from my previous video, which was about classes and objects. If you have not seen that video, I will put the link in the description below. So please watch that video before this one for better clarity. So what was that example that I am going to discuss? So let's suppose that I am a computer manufacturer. And if I am a computer manufacturer, I have some sort of class which is having the properties of a computer. And if I want to sell a computer, I will basically create an object of that computer class, and I will simply use that object to sell my computer. So let's create the computer class first. So I created a computer class in which I have this init method which I can use to basically initialize my RAM size and my screen size. Okay, so let's just say self.ram equals to ram and self.screen equals to screen. Now I will create another method called as print config, which is basically going to print out RAM size and screen size. Okay, so let's make this class, and then we will create a object of it. So you can see that my class is created. Now if I want to create an object of it, all I have to do is write the object name, write the class name, and then round brackets. But in these round brackets, I have to pass the RAM size and the screen size, which I mentioned in my init method. So I am passing here 16 GB RAM and 12 inches screen. So you can see that my object is created. Now user can use print config method to print the configuration, and you can see that my configuration is printed. But now we have another problem. The problem is that I am a computer manufacturer, and somebody comes up to me and he says that I want a specific type of computer, which is a laptop. Okay, so for example, I have been selling computers with certain RAM size and certain screen size, but now this guy does not want a regular computer or a regular desktop. He wants a special type of computer, which is a laptop. Okay. Now a laptop has all the properties of a computer. A laptop has a RAM, a laptop has a screen, but it has some additional things as well. For example, a laptop is having a charging cable, a laptop might be having an LED screen, a laptop might be having a numeric keypad. So all sort of things are there, right? So in our case, what we will do is we will just create a class called as laptop, which will inherit all the properties of the computer class. So you'll see how easy it is. Just to inherit any class, all you have to declare the class, and the round brackets you will simply specify the parent class name. So now this computer becomes the parent of the laptop. And now what I can do here is I will simply do not write anything. I will just create pass. And if I now do the exact same thing, if I create something like this, lap1 equals to laptop, and in the laptop I will simply pass the RAM size and the screen size. Let's change the RAM to 8 GB RAM. And now if I print lap1 dot print config, you will see that I am able to print the configuration of the computer, which the computer class, using my laptop class object. And why I was able to do so, because laptop class is inheriting computer class. So you see, laptop is a type of computer, and that is why we are inheriting computer into it, so that it can use the properties of the computer, and in the future we can add some properties as well. This we will see now. So now I created my laptop class, okay, and now what I will simply do is that I want to add some more material into it. A laptop is having a charging cable, a laptop is having a LED screen, so it is having a bunch of other things, right? I basically want that I want to add those things as well. So what I will do is I will initialize my laptop class using the init function. Now here is the catch. The catch is that if your subclass or your child class is not having init function, then by default the init function of your parent class is called. But if your subclass already has an init function, then the init function of the subclass is only called. So what we have to do here is that we have to specify the RAM size and the screen size. So I will just write here RAM size and the screen size, and let's say one more thing called as charging cable. Okay. So now because I am overriding the init method in my subclass, so now the init method of the parent class will not be called. Only the init method of the laptop class will be called. So because the parent class init method is not getting called, I have to initialize all the three things here. Self.ram equals to ram, self.screen equals to screen, and self.charging cable equals to charging cable. Okay, and let's override the print config as well. So the print config will simply be having self, and in addition to RAM size and the screen size, we will also print something called as charging cable size. Charging cable. Okay. Now I will create an object called as lap1 equals to laptop, and in the laptop I have to specify the RAM size. Let's say the RAM is 16 GB, screen is 12 inches, and the charging cable is 25 centimeter. And now if I print lap1 dot print config, let's try that. You will see that all the three things are printed. But now you will raise this question that you were saying that inheritance is going to reduce the line of code. But here the line of code is not getting reduced at all, because we are basically writing all the statements of the parent class here. So that is basically no use. But that's what I wanted to show you, that we can reduce these statements using a keyword called as parent method. Okay. So what is a parent method? Now, there are two ways that you can call the method or the init method of your parent class or some other method of your parent class using the parent class name. So that concept is called as the parent method concept. So what I can do here is that I can simply write computer dot underscore underscore init and then pass here self, RAM and screen. And I can just use this also again in the print config. So I am just writing here print config, and now you will see that I am getting the exact same result. So this approach is called as the parent method approach, in which you write the name of your parent class and the method of the parent class which you want to call. So in my case, I want to call the init method of the parent class, and I just pass it the self and the RAM and screen parameters. And in the print config, I simply use the print config method. Okay, that is one way that you can use the parent class and the parent class method. Okay, so I will just write a markdown here that this is called as the parent class method for future reference. Now we will see another thing which is called as the super method. Okay, so what is the super method? There is another keyword called as super in case of Python, which you can use to call your parent class. So the exact same thing which we did, we can use with the help of super and then brackets. So exact same thing, you can use super and the brackets, but the only thing is that you do not have to pass self here. So you can just remove this, because super basically assumes and it takes care of the fact that you are calling a parent class, and the way you are calling the parent class is your object only. So the self reference is basically already implied. So super is intelligent enough, just to be clear, right? I will just use the same here. I will just change the laptop configuration to RAM configuration to 8 GB. And now let's print it. You can see that the RAM size is 8, the screen size is 12, and the charging cable size is 25 centimeter. So basically, this is how you can call your parent class super method into your code and save all those coding lines which you had to write yourself again. So uh, basically, you saved a lot of redundant code here. So guys, this was about inheritance on a singular level. So here I only inherited a class, one single class. Okay. So this is a whole called as singular inheritance. So I will just write another markdown class here and name it as single level inheritance. What you can do is something called as multi-level inheritance. Let's say how we can call a multi-level inheritance. What multi-level inheritance means that one class is getting inherited. So let's suppose A is getting inherited by B, and then B is getting inherited by C, and C is getting inherited by D. Now by default, D will have all the properties of A, B and C. So that is called as multi-level inheritance. Let's just see that in our example below. So for example, I have some class called as A, and this A class is having some sort of method called as a print. One second. Now this A class has method called as print A, and this print A method is simply printing A here. And now I created this class, and now let's create another class called as B, and this B class is also having a print method which is called as print B, and this B class is inheriting A. So A is a parent class and B is inheriting A, and now create another class called as C which is inheriting B, and now it has a method called as print C, and it will print this. So now all my three classes are created. I will now just create one class called as a D, which is inheriting C, and then I will call all the methods of the above superclasses with the object of this D class. Okay, so now if I create an object of D, so I created an object of D. If I use D dot print A, you know what, because it takes oh okay, because I didn't specify self here. Okay, let's specify self and then self. So now if you print A, you can see that D is able to use the print A method. So D is only inheriting C, but it is able to use the print A method of the A class. Why? Because A is getting subsequently inherited by B into C into D. So D will be able to use print A, print B, print C, and print D. So I will just write here A, B, C, and D, and you can see that D is now able to use the methods of all the classes it has inherited above the levels. So this is called as multi-level inheritance. So no matter where your class is in that hierarchy, it will be able to inherit all the properties of its parent classes and the parents of the parent classes as well. Okay. This is called as multi-level inheritance. Now there is another concept which is called as a multiple inheritance. So what multiple inheritance basically means is when one class is not just inheriting the properties of single class, when one class is inheriting the properties of multiple classes. There are two classes, for example class A and class B, and there is this C class which is inheriting both A and B. In that case it will be called multiple inheritance. Let's see how that works. So basically let's create a class called as A here, and now in this class I will be having some method called as print A, and let's suppose this print A is print A, and then I have got another class called as a B, and in the B also I have got another method called as print B. So def print B, and this is also printing B. Okay, now my class C is actually inheriting both A and B, so it will be like A comma B. So A comma B, and then def print C. Okay, so we have this C method here, and it will be printing C. Now if I create an object of this C class, so let's suppose C equals to, and now if I do C dot print A, you will see I am able to print A. If I do print B, I am able to print B, and if I do print C, I am able to do print C as well. So basically C has inherited all the properties of A and B. A and B are not related with each other. A and B have no connection at all. So in my previous example, A was being inherited by B and B was being inherited by C. But here, A and B are two different classes. Okay, they have no connection with each other. Only C is inheriting both of them. So C is having basically direct connection with A and B. Now, you guys will say that what if I have got some method in class A, in class B, and class C. So let's say some method of my B class. For example, if C was also having method and it was printing this B is part of C. Okay. Now let's see if I use something called as print A will be the same. So with C dot print A will be A. But if I do something called as C dot print B, you see what printed. So if we have two methods which are same in the parent class and the child class, then depending upon which object called that method. So in our case, this was a child object which called the print b method. So in that case, its only copy of that method will be called. So the C's copy of print b method is called, not the B's copy of print b. So this copy is only called because the object is of type of class C. Okay. Now, this is one concept that there are two classes having inheritance relationship and both are having the same name methods. But what if my C class is inheriting A and B and both A and B are having the same method? So let's suppose A is having a method called as print AB and B is also holding a method called as print AB, and class A prints something called as A is first then B, and class B prints something called as B is first then A. So if my C class is inheriting both A and B, now let's suppose C is only having A and B here. Now C class is inheriting both A and B. Then what do you think if I call here C dot, let's delete this part. So if I call here C dot print AB, what do you think which function will be called? The A copy or the B copy? You'll see that if I have two classes, A and B, both are having the same method, and this class C is inheriting A and B. So which copy of the printAB method will be called? And you can see here that I am getting A is first then B. So basically the A's copy of printAB method is called. And why that is called? Because when C inherited those classes, A was before B. A was first inherited, then B was inherited. Okay. If I change this order, if I make B comma A, then you will see that which part will be printed. Now B's copy is printed. So now B is first then A because B is first in the order of inheritance as well. So this is called as multiple inheritance, and what all sort of problems we can face with it. So in multiple inheritance, you can inherit multiple classes, and multiple classes can have same methods, but it depends upon the order of inheritance which method copy will be called by the subclass. Okay. So guys, one more thing which is left in this is called as the diamond problem, which we will be discussing in a separate short video. But you do not need to exactly learn it as part of inheritance. It is just a common problem which we can face in inheritance in Python. So guys, we can discuss it in the later video as well. I hope this you are able to learn something about inheritance from this video, and it became a little bit more clear to you the concept and how we can use it. So guys, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for further notifications. Till then, stay home, stay safe, stay learning, and bye bye.